Okay, now for the last session.
Yes, last session. Like before, no slide. Only a live session. And now we are starting to talk about the OpenTelemetry, that the open source framework that's becoming the industry standard for collection telemetry data, traces, metrics, and logs from every application. Now we explore also the part of open metrics, which standardizes how we expose and collect metrics data across different systems. After I show something about Jaeger and Instana, and also Grafana, that are based this on OpenTelemetry, this Instana bot, OpenTelemetry and OpenMetrics, and Grafana with our OpenMetrics, also Liberty OpenMetrics. We can start with how to enable the OpenTelemetry on engine. We have to configure only two files. We have to go in the server env, that it's located on the USR engine server is, and we have to put the address. In this case, it's localhost because the Instana agent is installed in the same path, in the same machine. Otherwise, you have to put the different address. After, you have to change the JVM option to add this jar that can start to collect the OpenTelemetry metrics. Also, you can attribute a name that is the service that is supposed to retrieve the data. Let me show also, I forgot to open this. I configured in other environment the Jaeger part with this.
Okay, so just to set the scene, OpenTelemetry has been available in IWS since 10.1 something.
I think,
but that's just the metric. So observability consists of three components. So metrics, traces, and logs.
Yes.
So metrics was the first piece that came in, but now
actually logs were.
Were they?
Logs.
Okay.
That was the easiest.
But now traces.
Then metrics, then traces.
Yeah, was the last piece. So it's IWS is fully observable as far as OpenTelemetry is concerned, and that's what Alessandro is going to show. We've had a previous session at this event where we showed the metrics piece, and we'll go through that again. But it's the traces bit now that's the important stuff. And for those of you, I know a number of you are using Dynatrace. This is the kind of stuff you should be putting into Dynatrace so you can look at the performance of IWA moving forward.
Yes. In this case, I connect the Instana with in this case, is a master or backup master. For example, he collects the message that is brought in the Liberty log. For example, we can see some info message, also error, for example, this. Because yesterday I tried to run the Genix plan for my backup master, but it's not possible to run the Genix plan. So it's logged. And you can take under control your system with a different kind of message that could be warning error info like this. And catalog and try to understand what happened and take the correct part to try to solve if there is a problem. And for that part, that it's not only OpenTelemetry, but it's about OpenMetrics that we started to expose on this address, that it could be in clear with this port with the 6 in SSL. The metrics are exposed in this standard way, that it's a time series with a number, that in our case it's collected by Prometheus and show by Instana, or in this case could be shown by Grafana, for example. For example, here you can monitor in this part the workstation status, if they are running, or if there is some problem with the jobs, because if you have many error, or I don't know, ready, that there is no time to have more ready jobs, you can check. You can check also the releases and the job status over time, like this. This is a very simple dashboard in Instana that we created, I think, last week, because we needed to restore, because we lost the machine, and we restored, and we started to see that it's very, very helpful, especially the part of the trace. For example, try this analytics. You can choose a different part like logs, traces, website, or different profiles. Like Jaeger UI that I tried last week to understand better how we can use this part. This is very helpful. For example, I run for this Swagger a query on calendar, but we can try on the plan on everything that we need. And with this, there is every single operation that is done, that he did, with the time. So in this way, you can find if there is a query that could be take a long time, that usually don't take. You can go very deep, understand what is the problem, and you can instrument and set a different services. In this case, HWA I will set in our configuration file. So this is our service to monitor. Here you can check for different part of get, post, other kind of RESTful. So in this way, you can monitor the status of your environment daily. You can choose the time to analyze, for example, 1 day, that's 5 minutes, 6 hours. It's very helpful to collect and understand what's wrong. For me, the very important use thing, it's about the, sorry, I forgot to open the Prometheus, because on Prometheus, it's a free tool like Grafana that you can install on the machine. When you start Prometheus, you have to put some target, that it's the master, the DWC, what you want. So it started to collect the data. It's stored if you want in a database or local database, what you prefer. After this, you can download the dashboard that we created, I think 2 or 3 years ago. And you can monitor like this 4 kind of object. For example, this is about IWS. This is about the delivery on the server. This is about the console. For example, you can check if the delivery is going okay or not to monitor the usage. This is our performance environment. We have 3 different kind of environment that I can switch. I can monitor for example, the IPO, the thread, the active session. And for me, the very important thing is that we can set a different kind of alert. And when you set some threshold, for example, I put, let me show this. I put, for example, in our case, the queue, that could be some problem when started to increase, because we know that when the queue are increased, there is something wrong. Probably, I don't know. Yesterday I simulated something to show you. For example, now we have the mirror box, very increasing. I set a threshold that if it's about 8%, for 10 minutes, it send a mail. let me show also this. I have this. So send me a mail that there is a problem on the mirror box. That is about 86%. And when it's resolved, send another mail. This could be, for example, a ticket for Salesforce and open automatically some ticket to resolve. You can put this alert whenever you want. For example, for number of job. For example, also if there is something which goes down, for example, now our app, or if the usage of something like CPU or other could be a critical part, you can set an alert. After, also we installed the Node Exporter. So also this is a free tool that's monitor the CPU. The swap is a very useful part because it's monitor everything about this. The memory, the CPU, the memory, the network. Also here you can set some alerting with the threshold so you can maintain under control the entire system, machine and the AWS. And only we set I think about 2 files because both Prometheus and Grafana are very simple to install. You have to, if you are installed on Ubuntu, you have to install with the Ubuntu command. You have to set 2 files that are YAML file to set the target. After this, you can start to use it. Download our dashboard, that is this. And you can start to use the Open Metrics. About Open Telemetry, you have to set the other 2 files. You have to install OYEL, that is a very useful because we installed it by Docker. Also, this on Ubuntu, we download the container and start. After you have only to configure this file. This is the JVM. After this, you can start as the traces that the server sent.
Can I ask the version for this open telemetry? Does it improve between 10.2 and 10.2.2 and 10.2.4, or is it's the same which regardless of which version you start at?
Yeah, I have to ask, but for me it's the same. I'm not sure because I read also here there is not. We not wrote a lot. We have to improve this part.
No, because the Jaeger thing you just showed there is exactly what we'd be looking for. Visually show queries taking longer than they should. We don't have to go rely on monitoring observability teams. We can just knock this up ourselves. So, if we have to, does it work at 10.2.2, that's great. But if we have to wait for another version, that's fine also. But this is what we want.
I can ask about this.
Okay, great.
It was certainly available at 10.2.3.
I think yes, because
and about 10.2.2.
If I can,
I'll go and try this. It's just I hadn't seen it demoed to make me understand exactly what it was doing, but that's exactly what we want to happen and see.
10.1, I think no, probably 10.2.2, I think yes. Yes.
I think the other thing I wanted to ask was on the Grafana that you showed there with the dashboard, the pre-create dashboard. If you go back to the Grafana view.
Yes, this could be. Sorry, go ahead. I have some delay.
The Liberty one, if you open up the Liberty.
It's two different way to take different data.
Yeah, no, I'm asking specifically about Grafana here. So there's only the 9.5 version of this dashboard available that I've found. And when using it on 10.2.2, the Prometheus queries don't line up. So if you open up that Liberty WebAA server Liberty panel there, now back to Grafana.
Okay, for Grafana, I'm sure that 10.2 it's okay, but probably 10.1 feedback something because we started to expose this 3 or 4 days ago. Because if you want, you have the latest version.
Yeah, I think my issue is with the the dashboard rather than the version or the data. So if you go back to the Grafana dashboard, I just wanted to see what you, because it all works on your end, and I want to see why it's not working on mine. So when it says WA Server Liberty, could you open up that panel, please?
You want to download
Now
it?
on the right. So yeah, that if you open that up.
Okay.
No.
No,
Okay, so
sorry.
go to Liberty. Scroll down to Liberty.
Yeah, limit. Okay.
I want to look at the application heap.
Ah, okay, on the server. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then just look at that query there. If you open up any of those, the heap usage on the right. So open the 3 dots on the right of the heap usage box.
This?
And so on the top right of the box is 3 dots.
Yes.
Can you just
okay.
show me, edit that, please? Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. Because there is some noise, I understand. Okay.
Fine. Okay.
Yes, this is it's the name that this is the dashboard that we download from Open Liberty. After,
Right.
if you want to understand for example, the name, you can go here and put the name here, execute.
I think what I'm trying to get to is the dashboard that is published on Grafana that you download and insert into this Grafana is referring to the incorrect name. So what you've got highlighted there, memory maxi bytes. The
Okay,
dashboard that you download from Grafana is prefixed base_memory. So if you upgrade, this all breaks, is what I'm trying to get to.
Yes, you agree, because I modified last week because
there we go. That's what I wanted to get to.
Yes, yes.
What modifications did you make? I'd be interested in.
We had to republish the correct version. Correct. I write on my notes. Yes.
Okay. Brilliant. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Ale, give me just 1 second. Let me say goodbye to everyone here since we need to take the airplane. Yeah, just 1 second and then you can continue. So guys, thank you, Ivan.
Thank you.
Next time I will stay more time so we can drink something together.
Next time.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, yes, I will. Okay, go ahead.
Right, we can carry on. Alessandro?
Yes, I can, if you want, I can export this dashboard. If you send me a mail, I sent you the new dashboard, so you can import.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Sure.
Please.
Well, yeah, the automation hub needs to be updated as well.
Yes, I wrote now to Pasquale. You have to republish the dashboard. Yes. Yes, because I did this change, I think, yes, 2 weeks ago, because I go here and there is nothing. Is what's wrong? Yes. Discard. Okay. Okay. In this way, I also put, for example, a multiple engine, so you can monitor if you have different cluster. I think it could be helpful also this to.
Sure.
To see different environment in a single point, like this, because you can choose here all different environment in only single point.
For those of you on Dynatrace,
Dynatrace, okay,
let's get the on the dashboard and give it to Dynatrace.
Please, if we could, that'd be useful.
Well, you just go to Automation Hub.
Actually, you could probably get it from There's an HWA version for Dynatrace.
Is there?
Yes.
I think yes, but for now I have only this.
It's not on the Automation Hub.
No,
Because it's
no, I don't think we've got Dynatrace. Andrew.
Ask Alessandro. Oh, yes.
Okay. Because these guys
Nephew.
They still use that.
have got Dynatrace saying that they'll build it for them.
Yeah, I know it's out there. I just don't know where it's.
Yes. No, I never used it for now. Also Splunk, I know that it's a good tool to run this, because it's based on OpenTelemetry. It's a universal standard. You can choose the product or the provider that you prefer or more confident. We start with the Prometheus and Grafana because it's free. It's good performance, especially it's very helpful to create this. Tell me if you want something, because for me it's okay about this, because it's only to show that exists 3 different ways to monitor the environment and the AWS with the OpenTelemetry or OpenMetrics that we started to expose. So you can see there are very lot of metrics exposed here, especially when you find application WA. It's about the AWS. This is about the Liberty. The only difference. So in one point you have both metrics exposed, AWS and the Liberty metrics. Also, you can export, so you can manipulate and convert and analyze also in batch way, or you can collect. Like Grafana, you can choose a very long time, like 2 days. It's very helpful. Also, you can choose the. Let me, because also I updated Grafana to the latest, because there is also here a CVA for the security, so I have to find the part to check the data source, because we now using only Prometheus, but you can also using other collection data like Prometheus. Okay, after I try to export, if you put in the chat the mail, or you ask to probably, I don't know, my mail, so I can send to you.
Great, I'll do that, thank you.
Okay, can we go back to the Jaeger setup?
Okay, about
so,
the setup, yes, tell me.
So in terms of the tracing information, within IWS you have different trace levels.
Yes. Okay, sure, yes.
And by default, it's just info that comes out, isn't it?
Yes, let me show, for example, in a real environment. Let me start with this. Okay. Yes. We have the trace.log, .xml file, that is the trace configuration file for the Liberty and for the AWS. When you go here, then you also have engine server. In default, or in template, you have the default trace level that I said before. It's info. Yeah, you can choose the level and the specific component that you want to trace. For example, if you have some problem with the broker, you can set the TWS broker role. You can use also TWS role, but it's not recommended because it's very huge tracing. Also, you have to change this probably to 100 and about 50 files, because it's very, very big, and especially these trace files are rewritten because it's right in circular way. So after that, the first finishes, start to write the second. When finish this, start with the last. So you have to set the quality, so you lost what you are search or what you are looking for, because it's very, very huge traces. You can, for example, try to the planner if you have some problem when you run, I don't know, Genix plan. There is something wrong in some job stream. This is the good traces. And to enable this, you have to modify. You can take one of these, put here, because this it's using in this part. Or you can also write directly, take this and put here. After this, you save and put in your rights. After this, Liber understand automatically that there is a new level trace. You don't need to start and start to collect the new. And the traces are made in this way. It's like message, but very okay. Standard list. It's not in alphabetical order. I don't find the standard. This is the logs. So the message is the message that is all every time written. And here you can find something wrong. For example, I added sometimes ago a wrong certificate that I didn't eliminate. So sometimes he asked to this. I added the broker part I will show before in the previous presentation. The trace like this, I would say info. It's similar to the message, but there are different parts. So you have to need to understand here is the right place to check. Also, there is another part that is important, that is named the FFPC. Here there are, for example, I don't know, this is about yesterday. You can check what happened. Security validation. Okay, this is the about the certificate that I showed before. It's not able to trust. In FDC, it's written the problem. So you can check in three parts: FFDC in the message for the general, and the trace for the specific. I don't know if you want also see other kind of logs for to check something in the job, in the dynamic agent or in the FTA, because a different path to check this. Because we have two different parts. Also here, we have the TWS GC log properties. Here you can set with debug underscore maximum the trace for example, netman, batchman, send event, conman for every native process of AWS. And this is logged into traces. If you run this, there is the batchman. Here you can check what happened with the exchange message between the process and send them the event to start a job, notify that the job is successful. Here there is all story of the scheduling. Otherwise, you can check in the JM, that's the dynamic part of the product. For example, to understand if the dynamic agent is working fine, you can cut this. And usually when sent the resource every 2 minutes, it's okay. Because it's like heartbeat. When the broker is missing 3 or 4, I don't remember, set offline the dynamic agent. This part, I sent a job that run. It's the server rack that I run before. So this is the part to check if there is something wrong in the agent, liberty, or FT. So there is a two-way like this. So you can choose, for example, Instana to check Sting, Jaeger for a dedicated part. This. After you can also monitor the logs inside. And if you want some, you know something about everything, I can.
So, in summary, if you're going to do observability, metrics are fairly easy. It's probably the starting point. You're going to do logs and traces. You've got to be very careful about how much disk space gets eaten. Because start with the default, which is info, which is what the base product has set. If that doesn't give you enough information, then you have to up the tracing level, for example. But that's when you've got to balance how much disk space is being used. But firstly, how many people are doing this today? Yes, online is probably the place to ask. I know, Mark, you're doing some.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Trying to get familiar with it. I think that the same question, I think was already mentioned in the room, and the Dynatrace people ask you, well, what do you want us to show? What do you want us to show you? They don't know our application, so it'd be great to have something like this open telemetry or even this demo to say, look what it can show you. Look what Instana can show you with this demo, and make them go away and work that with Dynatrace or Datadog or what have you, or roll your own with Jaeger here. Yeah.
Mark, there is a white paper that talks about Dynatrace. It's on a different website. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apple screen.
I think the thing that's jumped out at me here is Dynatrace people speaking to them will say, well, look, we can go and monitor your whole application. You tell us what you want to be alerted about. But just with that query with Jaeger there showing the length of time a DB2 query taken, or that is massively helpful for us, because then we can help the PMRs and things say, look, this is taking 20 times longer than it should. It's enabling us to identify problems rather than going to a team who doesn't know our application, if you know what I mean.
One thing you will find advantage is in the testing system. Typically, Dynatrace people don't. Dynatrace license systems test to that extent. So this will give a really good advantage in the test system.
Oh, for Grafana.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, Mark, as well, what we will do is we'll pick the Instana tool and we will create some little videos for you that show what it looks like in that, because they are very similar tools, you know, from an APM point of view, and the same with Datadog as well.
Yeah,
so
can start it pretty well. I think just this comment there was you have to create your own dashboards. Which isn't a big deal, but it's a blocker to something like the Grafana dashboard, but it's all built for you straight out of the box. That's great, because it's more
Instana dashboard's built for you.
Yeah, Instana, you should be able to see stuff straight away.
Yeah, Instana's on the automation hub.
Okay.
We'll add that to the documentation as well.
Yes.
So this is out of the box, is what we're seeing here. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I wrote. I don't know if in next session we can try to show this, because for my knowledge I use only Instana and Jaeger. I have to try with I don't know, Google, also Dynatrace. That could be a good point to start to check the data from OpenTelemetry that we expose. Yes.
Okay. Have you finished, Alessandro?
Yes, but for my I finished. If you have some question, I'm here.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions on this topic or anything we've discussed today? Everyone's checking their watches, aren't they? What rain can I get? Okay. Thanks, Alessandro.